The story of Birmingham's famous markets begins in 1166, when the lord of the manor, a chap called Peter of Birmingham, paid the king for the rights to hold a weekly market. It was a shrewd move. Archaeological and documentary evidence shows that Birmingham grew rapidly. Business must have boomed. People were drawn into the new markets and new streets were laid out. It was a radical transformation in Birmingham's status, for back in 1086, when the Domesday Book had been compiled, Birmingham was fifth the size of Aston and had just less than 10 households. But by the middle of the 1500s, Birmingham was the most important town locally. It was during this period that a chap called John Cooper was supposedly given the rights to bait a bull in what became the bull ring. Birmingham continued to expand, not only because it had become a major market town, but also because it had become a significant manufacturing town. By the early 1700s, what had been the small markets area gathered round the parish church of St Martin's had burst out of its bounds and had spread up the hill to New Street and Dale End. Birmingham's development wasn't planned. In fact, it was more higgledy-piggledy and chaotic in its nature. A clutch of little streets crammed with old buildings hemmed in the church. It was difficult to move around, and that wasn't good for trade. So in 1806, the street commissioners, who were then the local authority, decided to act. They cleared all the old Tudor buildings in places like the Shambles, between Spicel Street and the Bull Ring, and made a big open area. At its base was St Martin's Church, and it went up like a triangle towards what is now Waterstones. Within that open triangle of the Bull Ring, there emerged a market that existed in much the same form until the developments of the late 1950s and early 60s. Shops, bars and hotels lined the route down to the Church of St Martin's, and some of them, such as Woolworths or Oswald Bailey's Army and Navy Store, became institutions for local people. Alongside one part of the triangle, from the old fish market in Bell Street, down past the Market Hall and Woolworths and into Jamaica Row, stood flower sellers. Amongst these were barrow boys with their handcarts piled high with whatever produce was available at the wholesale market that morning. There was fruit, veg and skinned rabbits. These barrows were pushed around by barrow boys trying to gain enough of a reputation to one day have a proper pitch.
It was electrifying in those days. I mean, there was characters, hustle and bustle. And if ever you wanted any produce of any description, doesn't matter where you lived, everybody came here to the Bull Ring. And it was just fun to be in and around that atmosphere.
The markets also became home to successive generations of immigrants, be they Irish flower sellers, Jewish stallholders, Asian textile sellers or Italian ice cream folk. In 1809, a statue was erected to Lord Nelson in the Bull Ring because he visited Birmingham and of course because he was a great hero following the Battle of Trafalgar. This statue soon became a focal point for political debate, putting the big issues and discussions of the day, such as workers' rights and the suffrage for women, right in the heart of the busy town centre.
It's always reminded me there of when I was in London. I get speakers' corners where all these people spoke, you know. And it was in a small way, that was the kind of thing around Nelson's column where people congregated.
By the 19th century, Birmingham had gained an international reputation as the workshop of the world, as a place renowned for the quality of its wares and the ingenuity of its people. For example, the superiority of its gun manufacturing meant the guns made in Birmingham were to be found on battlefields not only across Europe, but in America too. Both rich and poor aspired to wear jewellery crafted in Birmingham. Brassware, whistles and buttons were amongst the vast array of goods that found markets everywhere and earned the town the title of the City of 1,000 Trades. To match its status as a world-class manufacturing centre, Birmingham needed a world-class market hall. And in 1835, its very own market hall opened. It was a mammoth building, complete with gas lamps and a staggering 600 stalls that sold groceries, poultry, game, fish, live pets, fancy goods and flowers.
But you used to go up the steps and then you'd be sort of in another world, and there used to be, first of all, there was the clock, which was magnificent. I don't know how long the clock was there, but I mean, it wasn't always there, but it was there before the war. It was light and airy, with a big glass roof, and you felt as though you were going in somewhere with such an atmosphere.
Unhappily, during the Second World War, tragedy struck. On the 24th of August 1940, the market hall was hit during a Luftwaffe raid on Birmingham. Its roof was destroyed, along with the well-loved clock, and the market hall was left as a shell, with only its walls remaining.
The raid started, so it was regular in that time, of course. And it sounded as though the guns were in the cinema. It was a terrible noise, you know, it's what the screen was blowing out, terrible noise.
For nearly 2 decades after peace, the market struggled on, but it became increasingly clear that the bombing raids and the inability of Birmingham's narrow streets to cope with increased use of the motor car had rung the death knell for the bullring. The decimation of the bullring during the war gave planners a chance to experiment with new forms of architecture and design and to create a bold new image and vision for Birmingham. Between 1959 and 1964, the bulldozers swept away most of the old buildings and the concrete mixers arrived to create new ones. £8 million, and 5 years later, the old bullring had been transformed. The roofless 19th century market hall was replaced with a huge indoor mall-style market hall. This was described as the ultimate shopping experience. And at 23 acres, the fully air-conditioned complex was the largest indoor shopping centre of its type outside America. Brummies, nor anyone else, had ever seen anything like it. Improvement came at a price. The open triangular space of the old bullring was swept away. It was cut across by a wide inner ring road, along which traffic hurtled. If people wanted to cross it, they had to go through dark underpasses. The inner ring road encircled the official city centre of Birmingham, and the bullring markets and its people were placed outside it. The working class art of Birmingham was marginalised. But the traders and the shoppers of the bullring were resilient. It would take more than the inner ring road, the pub bombings of 1974 and the recession of the 1980s to kill off the spirit of the market. Not even the noise of the traffic could drown out the banter of the markets of Birmingham. The new rag market became famous for its wide range of clothes and textiles, and the road market remained a popular centre which kept its appeal long after the novelty of the new buildings around it had faded.
The bullring, I think, was the working class centre of town. It was the older part where the town started originally. And it was dirty, it was scruffy, it was noisy. It certainly wasn't pretty or attractive in any way, but it was vital. It was full of life, and I think that liveliness, vitality was what made it so attractive.
Within 2 decades, the once shiny, new state-of-the-art buildings were beginning to look dated and worn.
A lot of people didn't like the subways and going underground and the traffic going over. Because the subways weren't very safe in the end, especially the one through to Moore Street Station.
Birmingham now gained a reputation as a concrete jungle. It was decried as a place that was congested and dull, as somewhere that epitomised all that was wrong with 1960s architecture and buildings. Birmingham needed a makeover. So in the early 1990s, office space and conferencing facilities sprang up across the city to woo businesses to Birmingham. New developments such as Brindley Place, Millennium Point and the Symphony Hall were evidence that Birmingham was enjoying a renaissance, according to some. The development of Broad Street, Victoria Square and Centenary Square made some areas of the city centre barely recognisable to a previous generation. Yet as the luxury flats and wine bars filled up, the markets, once the key to Birmingham's economic growth, became increasingly run down. It was not long before the bullring was to catch up, though, with the new developments. In the year 2000, the market hall, still only 36 years old, was emptied and the stalls were moved to a new home. Then, in September 2003, Birmingham's flagship project, the massive Selfridges department store and the Bullring shopping mall opened. They were coined Europe's new shopping capital.
It's a very compact area for shopping. It's very modern, light and airy, but it's still kept that street structure, and it's allowed other architectural buildings in the area to balance and show off themselves against the modern architecture of the Bullring and Selfridges in particular.
Where barrow boys and flower sellers once gathered, shoppers from across the country now bustle between the two sides of the Mall. People drink cappuccino and drift around the designer stores where the market hall and the fish market once stood. Two distinct areas have now emerged. There's the Bullring shopping centre with its swanky stores, its designer clothes and its upmarket food. And then, down the hill, there's the Bullring market alongside St Martin's, where the traders sell food and clothes, quality stuff at affordable prices. The new stores and shops have enjoyed phenomenal success, but not all of the businesses in the Bullring area have shared in the creation of wealth. Many traders in particular feel that the markets haven't benefited, and they say that this isn't just because of the change in tastes of consumers and different shopping habits.
I think the stall holders now are under a lot of pressure. The rents are very high, service charges very high. It's just a battle to make ends meet, really. Everybody struggles from day to day, so I think the more concentrating on getting the money in the tills have lost that time to talk to people like we used to, probably.
Traders describe the Edgbaston Street divide between the Bullring shopping mall and the market area as a Berlin Wall. For them, it represents not only a physical barrier or an economic gap in terms of the goods sold and the clientele of each shopping centre, but also a gap in the amount of promotion and publicity given to the Bullring shopping centre compared to the markets.
The new Bullring is a beautiful building, it's absolutely wonderful. Unfortunately, there's like a barrier between the new Bullring and our market. So obviously a lot of people that actually shop up there don't come down here, and we would like it so that the barrier wasn't there, more people would come into our market. Unfortunately, my brother, who's been here since he was 8 years of age, has had to leave this market because there's no volume of business. And now my store's now up for sale because I can't make a living here anymore.
But we weren't told the truth, basically. We were told that there were going to be entrances at the back of that market, at the back of that development over there, and there aren't. I mean, that's the back entrance, you only have to look at it. So we were happy thinking, yeah, people are going to be flowing from both entrances. They're not. So we had the wool pulled over our eyes, basically.
They haven't put us in the heart of the Bullring. See, the Bullring used to belong to us, to all the market people. Now the Bullring's over there. We haven't got an identity, we've lost that, which is a pity, because Birmingham markets are for the people of Birmingham.
With the increased drive towards attracting inward investment to Birmingham, traders see themselves sidelined in favour of developments not for the people who traditionally shopped, worked and socialised in the Bullring, but in order to attract wealth from other areas.
I think this was built for something other than a rat market. So in a few years to come, this will probably be either a supermarket or something else. It's here for a reason, not for the rat market.
Many people who grew up regularly visiting the markets with their mums and dads and grandparents and remained loyal to the markets following the post-war redevelopment are now turning their backs on the new development, complaining that they feel detached from what used to be an integral part of their lives.
The market, it doesn't do the trade that it should do because there's no buses go past there now, you know.
It used to be nice when you got individual shops. But now they're all the same chain stores, it doesn't matter where you go. It's the same chain stores all the time.
It would seem that Birmingham Centre is in danger of becoming what the New Economics Foundation have coined a clone town, comprising of rows of global and national chain stores that have replaced small independent shops and family-run businesses. This, they believe, actually takes money away from the local economy, destroys the community created by local shops and markets, and steals the identity of towns and cities.
They've moved the markets out of the centre, the other side of Edgbaston Street, and the central space has been occupied by the shopping centre. And what was a vital piece of the city centre, open to all, a locus of public life, has now become a shopping centre. It's become kind of two-dimensional, if you like, rather than three-dimensional. It's just there for shopping. And most critically, what was public space is now private space.
It's almost as if we're an embarrassment. We're not part of the new Bullring, and yet we are the people that brought everybody into Birmingham to begin with.
Despite troubled times, there certainly seems to be no lack of enthusiasm for the markets.
This is where the character lies. It's not all brand new buildings, it's not all glass facing, it's a pretty plain building, it's pretty plain outside, but it's the people in it and the stuff in it that is what makes it characteristic, and it's the centre of the community really. This whole place has got its own community.
I hope they stay and continue to, to get more interesting people in here to come and sell their stuff, It's got to stay. No one else would employ them.
The Bullring markets have always been a living, breathing thing, a vibrant and dynamic community. Throughout their history, they've grown, adapted, changed and reinvented themselves. But throughout all that, they've remained a home, a family, even a refuge for all those that have shopped there and traded there.
Although we value the markets and customers of Birmingham value the markets, we hope our city seniors, being the councillors, also value their markets, and hope the future will be retained here and we'll keep the markets as we have done for the last 800 years. That's our wish.
For those people that go to the Bullring markets, it's not just about shopping. It's also about the characters and personalities that have gathered there, from the street entertainers to the traders. And the markets are more than that. In a city that is in danger of becoming separated by class and ethnicity and age, the Bullring markets draws all Brummies together, irrespective of class, colour and creed. There we are all Brummies. Modern society seems obsessed with the bottom line, with cost effectiveness. But you can't put a price on the market's experience of having a banter with the traders, of finding quality food that's fresh, of hunting for a bargain, of having a crack and having a mooch around. Markets may not be cash cows that bring in great amounts to either the city council or developers, but they're not just about profitability. They're about enriching the history and the people of Birmingham for hundreds of years. And not just Birmingham. Markets across the country, in towns and cities, are suffering difficult times. And surely one of the most important challenges we're faced with is to see markets as more than just economic entities. Markets matter because people